Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy. Today, we're gonna go over what makes this 1971 Dodge Charger so special. Okay, so here is the 1971 Dodge Charger. This particular model is the RT, which was the top of the line. And what makes it even cooler, it was a 440 4-speed Dana track pack car. So all RTs had a 444 barrel, a 446 pack, or a 426 Hemi. This one would have been basically the base model of the RT. As you can see, it does have the J45 hood pins, which is a pretty cool option. This car is also B5 blue, and it had the black hood stripe, as you can see the remnants of it with the cool RT here. And then it had the black stripe that basically ran across the hood here, ran down the back, etc. This one had a black interior, bucket seat console. As you can see, the bucket seats are missing. It does have the rally gauge cluster in it. But something that was kind of unique about this one, blue with black and a white vinyl top. And as you can see, there's just a little bit of what remains of the original white vinyl top back here as well. This car also had the, I believe, the A45 package, which was the spoiler package. So you've got the rear 1971 only gull wing on it, and then the chin spoiler is actually sitting inside the car, so right there on the floor. A couple other things. This car, that hood, this is the standard hood for the RT. You could have also got the optional N96 Ram Charger hood, which was functional. You could get fresh air right down into the carburetor. I honestly think this one looks cooler. I mean, how can you argue that? This car has hideaway headlights, which is a pretty cool option. Just a really neat car. The 71 RT also has these gills down the door. And this is a 1 year only thing. They look really cool. Just fits the body line so well. So, and then the spoiler, of course, is just amazing. It fits the back of this car. It looks awesome. It's just, this whole car just fits together so well. The engineers did a really good job on this one. Something about this car, I'm going to guess by that sticker, it was probably raced pretty hard when it was new. And it was definitely put away very wet. It's pretty rough. This car has a pedigree like only a few others have, and that's this here. It's a real Mr. Norm's Grand Spaulding Dodge. And anybody that doesn't know what Mr. Norm's is, it's sort of the equivalent to like Yanko for the GM guys. He would do like all sorts of performance stuff, add things, and then he would dyno tune cars. Any of his dyno tuned cars would get this sticker right here. So this was actually one of the ones that were dyno tuned. Could have came with different performance parts right from the dealership. And being that it's a Dana 4-speed, why wouldn't it? Just super neat car. There's a ton of documentation on it. Unfortunately, this car is pretty rough. As you can see, there's a lot of rust in places. But it is what it is. And this car is just super neat. So it's got to be saved. Now this car has also appeared at its old location on another show, and so you guys may recognize it, but it's actually in better condition than it was there. I took the time to clean it up and put it somewhat together. There's no engine, no transmission, but it was a 440 with the 18 spline Hemi 4-speed. But what's really cool also about this car is the amount of documentation. So we've got the build sheet, and we're going to go over all this more in depth in a little while. You've got the window sticker, which right here you can see the Grand Spaulding Dodge. You've got all sorts of these different order papers. The original owner traded in a 69 Super B and all sorts of stuff proving that this car is what it is. And like I said, we'll go over this here in a little bit. First, we're going to climb underneath the car and take a look at some of the stuff that makes 440 4-speed, 6-pack 4-speed, and Hemi cars special. So this being a 440 4-speed car, it has some extra things that 440 automatics or small block cars and non-HP cars don't have. Such as right there, the cross member is boxed in more than like on a 340 car. And then back here, you've got these torque boxes. And those are just to stiffen up the body. There's also a bigger pinion snubber up on the floor. As you can see, this car, being a 440 4-speed, also has the Dana 60. That's the same rear end you would have found in like a 3/4 ton or even some 1-ton trucks. And they put those in because the 8 3/4 just couldn't hold up to the pounding of the 440 hypo and the 4-speed. This would have had the 18 spline 4-speed rather than the 23. And obviously it's the 440 4-barrel. Just to compare so you can see the difference right here and back here, I'm gonna roll over. This is a 340 4-speed car, and as you can see, there's no extra box there and there's no extra bracing up here in this area. This is a typical car that like the hypo high performance cars just they wouldn't hold up this way, so they had to put all that extra stuff. Unfortunately, this car is extremely rusty, as you can tell, but due to the pedigree and what this car is, this is definitely worth restoring. So enough about the car for just a minute. Let's talk about Grand Spaulding and why Grand Spaulding is so cool. So Grand Spaulding Dodge was started in 1962 by Norm Cruz. He started his first race team in 1964, and Grand Spaulding became the #1 performance dealer in 1966. In 1968, he did the Dodge Dart GSS, which stands for Grand Spaulding Special, and it had a 440 in it. The story is that he wanted to put 440s in the A-body, and Chrysler Corporation basically told him that it couldn't be done. So they sent him a couple cars, and he put the 440 in them. And then in 1969, Chrysler Corporation did the M-Code Dodge Darts and Plymouth Cudas, which were A-bodies with 440s from the factory. So they were pretty cool, really quick for what they were. However, I heard their handling kind of sucked because of all the weight in the front. Personally, I have never drove one yet, but I'd sure like to. Then in 1971, he did the Demon 340 6-pack cars, which also were GSS cars and just came right from his dealership. They weren't built anywhere else. And in 72, he went a step further and had the 340 Demons with Paxton superchargers, which were just awesome. I would love to own one someday. That 340 Demon we have would be perfect candidate for it, but it's just not in the cards right now. And then in 1974, Grand Spaulding Dodge became the #1 Dodge dealership in the world. So pretty cool, really awesome history. And that car right there, that's part of that history. Anyway, really neat. So I'm going to share some photos with you guys real quick. So these photos were taken in 2009 and are of Grand Spaulding Dodge in Chicago, Illinois. As you can see, the building has not fared much better than the Charger that we have. I'd like to thank Ryan Brute, aka the Auto Archaeologist, for taking these photos and allowing me to use them. Guys, go check him out on YouTube as well. He unearths a lot of really cool cars, all brands, muscle cars, everything. Go check him out. Thanks again, Ryan. Okay, now that I've given you guys a very brief history of Grand Spaulding Dodge, I encourage you to go out and do some more research, because there's tons and tons of history here with Grand Spaulding, as well as all other cars, different makes, models, everything. And it's a lot of fun, and it helps the hobby, and it helps you learn. Anyway, so we're going to move on. We're going to go over a lot of the documentation that this car has. Unfortunately, a lot of cars lose a lot of their documentation, such as the build sheets and the window stickers and everything. Mr. Norm's cars, real ones, in a lot of cases have a lot of information available through a couple different sources. This car had a whole packet, so we've got the order form, we've got the window sticker and everything like that. So I'm going to kind of show you that and show you all this cool stuff. And then in your cars, if you haven't looked already, you can find a build sheet in a lot of your Mopars, and a couple different places they can be is underneath the front seat, underneath or behind the back seat, underneath the carpet. It can be taped to the back side of the glove box. I've seen them in headliners. I mean, there's a lot of different places they can be. Sometimes they're lost. Sometimes you'll find one. The most I ever found was 4 in a 1971 Dodge Dart. Found 2 under the carpet and 1 under the front seat and 1 behind the back seat. So there's a lot of different places you can find them. But anyway, we're going to go over these ones now. I hope you guys learned something. I hope that you enjoy this. To me, this is what actually really got me into the cars, is all this documentation. Again, you can get, for Chrysler products anyway, the little white books that Galen Govier makes, and there's a link here in the bottom in the description. Great resource, really good resource for all this documentation as far as decoding it and whatnot. Anyway, so enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and get going with this. Like I said, this is the kind of stuff that really excites me about these cars, and that's this documentation. Now, fortunately, this car has way more documentation than most old Mopars do. This is really hard to get. Most cars, this is non-existent anymore, other than just the build sheet and sometimes the window sticker. But this one actually has the car record envelope. This was from Grand Spaulding Dodge, and this is where, as soon as Grand Spaulding got the car, any piece of paper they got would go right here into this folder so they could keep track of it. So you got the stock number, you've got the date of purchase for the car, and this is the date of purchase that Grand Spaulding got the car, not that the person bought the car. You've got like the title number, all sorts of stuff like that. It's really cool. Like most cars don't have this. In that you got, well, let's see. We'll start back here with this paper. This was basically the earliest paper. This is the advanced dealer shipping notice. So this is the paper that's going to come to Grand Spaulding prior to them getting the car. As you can see, you've got the date, August 28th of 1970. Now, this is a 1971 model car, so they actually got it pretty early. On here, it's going to show the options that came with the car from the factory. Definitely shows Grand Spaulding Dodge, and it even has the VIN number on it. So, kind of cool there. This is the order form from Grand Spaulding, so that may have even been earlier. Actually, if you look right here, the date of 7/6. So there's a potential that they actually put the order for this car in way before the 1971 model year was even being built, because that would be July 6th of 1970 with the first scheduled production date of August 1st, 1970. So that's pretty cool in its own. And right there you can see they already have the stock number on it. They've went through, they've checked what options they want. So you've got like the spoiler package, the hood tie downs, the Dana track pack, all sorts of stuff. So it looks like that car originally, but did not come with, may have even been coded as the colored bumper group, which would have been really cool, but unfortunately they didn't have that, even though it's checked. So buckets with a console, all sorts of stuff. So that's in this folder here. Then you can see the actual window sticker, which is right here. And again, you've got that stock number at the top, the 6204. You've got all the options going down right here, which is really cool, with the prices. So base price of that car was $37.50, and then the options added up to $4302.90. And of course, that was before tax or any of that stuff and anything that Mr. Norm added on because of what he did to the car. So then you've got a couple other papers. These are like the sales slips. So this one's going to be the conditional bill of sale. You can see the purchaser here, 71 Charger RT, same VIN number, blue. He traded in a 1969 Dodge Super Bee with even the VINs right there. So maybe somebody has that car out there, which would be kind of cool. Looks like they gave him $1,200 if I understand that correctly. But it's also Grand Spaulding Dodge. You can see that in a couple places. This one here. So this is the retail order. It's a duplicate. Also shows the purchaser. Shows what he's purchasing. Shows what he's trading in. So that, I believe, is the cash owed after trade-in. And then there's just kind of a run-through of the options that were on the car. Now, another thing that's kind of cool, and this is something that would have been from Mr. Norm's when they were ordering the car. This is just like a really quick checklist, I guess. Has the VIN number again, the list price, just a couple quick notes on the back. Super cool stuff. So again, the window sticker, you're going to see a lot of those codes that are on the window sticker are also right here on the build sheet, which is really cool. This build sheet, these are unique to the car. So you can see like the actual sequence number here. There's the whole VIN right there. This is the order number. Now, something kind of cool on the order number is this actually can give you some information if you know what it is. Like anything that starts with an M, as in Mary, was for like manufacturer use. I have been told and found with both of the Mr. Norm's cars that we have, they start with 038. And I was told that that is the actual order number or the dealer number for Grand Spaulding Dodge. So any Dodge products that have the vehicle number starting in 038, that's a Grand Spaulding car, which is really cool. So now I'm going to kind of go just over the first part of this line here. E86, so that is a 440 4-barrel, and I'm going to show you in this book. So I mentioned this book in another episode. These are Galen's white books. They are so awesome. Great for doing anything like this. So we're going to flip over to E86 so you can see what it is. So E86 right here in 1971 is a 440 4-barrel, 370 horsepower. Then we're going to go to D21, which is right here. D21 is a 4-speed manual trans. Now, real quick on the D21 code. So D21 is 4-speed, but it doesn't tell you which 4-speed it is. It could be the 23 spline or it could be the 18 spline. The way you know whether it's 23 or 18 is anything like a 440, a 446 pack, or a 426 Hemi had the 18 spline heavy duty, which that's why they call it the Hemi 4-speed. Now, if it was a 340 or a 360 or a 318 or anything else, it had the 23 spline 4-speed, which was not as heavy duty, but it worked well. So just remember, any small block or even the 383 had a 23 spline, but the 440 Hypo, the 446 pack, and the 426 Hemi had the 18 spline. So now we're going to go to D56. So that's the rear end. D56 in 1971 is a 354 Dana 60 axle. So we know it's a 354 Dana that car had. So this little one starts D91 and says SG. So that's for Sure Grip. Now, this also on this paper if it's an 8 3/4, an 8 1/4, 9 1/4, 7 1/4, or the Dana 60, if it has a 1 in it, it means that it had a sure grip. If it does not have a 1 in it, then it's not a sure grip. So as far as I know, every Dana 60 car was a sure grip. I've never heard of an open. So the next code we're going to go to is T93, which is the tires. And you can see that right here, T93. They are the G70 14 raised white letter tires. So really base tires. I'm sure that this car being what it was, it probably came or left Grand Spaulding with some cool tires and wheels, probably Krager's or something like that. I don't know that for sure, and there's really no way to tell, but I would assume that they wouldn't have left all that high performance stuff with 14-inch rallies, but you never know. Now we're going to go to like trim. So it's a D6, X9 is black, the color of the interior was black. V01, I believe, is monotone paint with a vinyl, but let's go ahead and pull this book back up so we can make sure. And V01, yeah, monotone paint right there. So, and then you've got the color, which is GB5, and then the vinyl top, which is the V1W. So really cool. And these, like I said, these build sheets are such a wealth of information if you can find one in your car. And a lot of times, even if you can't, let's not say a lot of times, but sometimes if you post online, Facebook groups are a great place. You can actually find your build sheet because they weren't always in the right car. Some of the cars that went to Creative Industries, for instance, such as the Daytonas and Charger 500s and some of the others, it's very well known that the chance of the original back seat with the build sheet getting put back in the correct car is slim. So there's been a lot of people find their build sheets that way. Another thing, just really quick, I'm kind of going to end this, but you can even see like the torsion bar part numbers or just what numbers they are, the leaf springs. There's just so much cool stuff. Some of it's duplicate, like it has the axle there and the axle there, but you can even see what fan it was, whether it was like the aggressive fan or just a fixed fan, a clutch fan, whatever. The wheels on this, so it must have had hubcaps or it might have had rallies. Well, let's just look. So the wheels, it shows the road wheels for 27. So let's go ahead. I'm trying to remember where the wheels are. 27. So it just had regular steel wheels, it looked like, but they were the extra wide ones. So probably just had hubcaps on it, which also tells me more than likely this car left Grand Spaulding with some custom wheels. I'm not sure what oil unit means or what the other code down here might mean. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information about these lower notes, and sometimes there's all sorts of different notes. If you watched my police car episode, you know, it said like front and rear heavy or something like that. Well, come to find out, somebody actually told me what that meant, and that means it was the heavy duty front and rear seats, which are pretty cool. And I had no idea until somebody else told me. So that's another good thing is with these Facebook groups is you can ask and get a lot of really cool information. But again, I love this stuff, and I think a lot of you guys would love this as well if you got into it. So I'm going to just go ahead and say good luck with hunting down any of this stuff. Find your build sheet, look at your fender tag, get these books. He has them for different years so that you can, like 72 has and newer have different codes in some cases than this one. The 66, 7, and 8 are completely different how everything's done. Just go check out Galen's page. The link's in the bottom. And you look at these books. They're wealth. There's also a lot of places online where you can find this stuff. These have production numbers as well, which is pretty cool. So I mean, like this car, we're gonna just look up the 1971 Charger RT since that's what we're playing with here. So bear with me. Getting closer. So you can look up right here, for instance, 1971 Dodge Charger RT 444 speed. There were 332 of them made. So the other one that we have that's also Mr. Norm's car, and you've seen it briefly in other videos, and you'll see more of it later on. It is a 446 pack automatic car, so it's one of 98. And it's a curious yellow. It's a Dana Super Track Pack car and Ram Charger hood car. It is a really cool car, and we'll go over it more in the future. Like I said, it is a real Grand Spaulding car. Unfortunately, it does not have near this documentation. Again, like I said, most cars do not. This car just, we got lucky with this one. So whoever ends up purchasing this car and restoring it, this is an awesome opportunity. This car has so much history, and it's just such a neat car. So anyway, thank you for sticking with me through this. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'd like to invite you guys to subscribe if you haven't already. And also be sure to hit that like button down below. It's really helping me out. Honestly, guys, I'm so grateful. Over 5,000 subscribers in just over 4 months. I'm so pleased. I just I can't thank you guys enough. Please, again, give me any input, any thoughts that you may have on how I can make this better for you guys. Like I said, and as you have sort of seen on some previous videos, we're finally doing some Ford stuff. We're doing some GM stuff. Not as much GM stuff yet, but I'll get there. Again, please like and subscribe, share, let other people know about me. Also, hit us up on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I post pictures and stuff on Instagram. Anyway, again, thank you guys so much. This is my 30th video as well, so that's really cool. Anyway, again, thank you.